Howdy folks, and welcome to my simple no CP Magicka Templar PvP build. And no, this is not one of them Oaken Soul, 1 bar, overpowered death machine builds. This is just your good old traditional 2 bar setup that works perfectly fine in no CP, has excellent sustain, good damage and great survivability. So this is an Argonian Templar. As you can see, I put 60 points into Magicka and 4 points into health, but I'm thinking of putting all points into Magicka because my health is 33k and I don't think I need that much, to be honest. So my maximum Magicka is 24k, maximum health 33k, and maximum stamina is almost 16k. Magicka recovery is almost 1700. Spell damage is 5.1k roughly, but this will go up to around 5.7, 5.8k. Spell crit is nothing to write home about. Spell penetration is 10.8k, but again, this will go up. Spell resistance 21.2k, physical 19k. Again, this is going to go up. I'm using the Orzorga's Red Frothgar. I'm Vampire Stage 3, and I'm also using the Achenak Mundus Stone. And let's start the gear showcase with the Gaze of Sithis. This is, in my opinion, one of the best mythic items for Magicka Templar in PvP. I know that Marking String of Majesty is extremely popular nowadays, but since my damage is good enough even without it, I prefer the tankiness and survivability of this one. Next up is Valkin Scoria's medium shoulder piece. I'm using Valkin Scoria to get more offensive penetration, and it's medium to get the most out of the Undaunted Metal passive that increases your max health, stamina and magicka by 2% per type of armor that you have equipped. And also to get at least some bonuses from the medium armor passives, especially agility and dexterity, but it's good to have the rest of them as well. On my front bar, I'm using War Maidens. This is, in my opinion, one of the best damage sets for Magicka Templars in PvP. It gives you critical chance, maximum magicka, weapon and spell damage, and it also adds 600 weapon and spell damage to magic damage abilities. And since all my damage abilities, apart from one, are magic damage abilities, this provides a tremendous upgrade on damage. I'm using two-handed maul, feet, belt, and hands. On my back bar, I'm using the Restoration Staff of the Potentates. This reduces the damage taken from players by 3%, which is always nice to have. And the second 5-piece set that I'm using is good old Rattle Cage. This gives you maximum health, a ton of weapon and spell damage, and it also gives you major brutality and sorcery at all times, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20%. Now, you can get the same buff from the sorcery potions, either those craftable ones or the ones that you can buy for alliance points. But to be honest, I prefer immovability potions over anything else in PvP. You can also get the same buff from Degeneration. But to be honest, there is no room on my bar, on any of my bars, for this ability. And the second reason why I don't like using this one is that when you are overwhelmed and you need to get behind cover to heal up and buff up, and then either start running away or come out and fight, you're behind cover. There are no targets to cast Degeneration on, so you may lose this buff. In which case, your heals will be weaker, because the Mage Sorcery applies to heals as well. With Rattle Cage, you don't really have to worry about any of that. So I'm using chest, legs, and 3 pieces of jewelry. So the armor weight setup is 3 heavy, 1 medium, and 3 light. Chest is reinforced, shoulders well fitted, everything else is impenetrable. Jewelry is all infused with spell damage glyphs, and I'm using the Absorb Magicka glyph on my front bar. On the back bar, I'm using the Berserker or Weapon Damage glyph. And the skills on my front bar are Toppling Charge. This is my main stun and also a gap closer. Radiant Aura. Since I'm using two-handed maul on my front bar, my heavy attacks will restore stamina. And I also cannot use the Elemental Drain. So this is there to provide me with some additional sustain. Radiant Oppression, good old Jesus Beam. Power of the Light, I'm using this morph instead of the magic one, because this one applies Minor Breach, reducing enemies' physical and spell resistance by 3k for 9 seconds. And more penetration basically means more damage. Puncturing Sweep, your main spammable, which heals you for 50% of the damage done. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the cheapest ultimate in the game. It deals solid damage. Enemies in your path, which means those right in front of you, will be hit for 60% more. And it's also boosted by War Maidens. You can also use Dawnbreaker of Smiting. You'll get some benefit from the Slayer passive, but I prefer this one. On my back bar, I'm using Living Dark, which is still fantastic even after the nerf. This heals you for 2.8k every half second if you are being hit with a direct damage ability, which, to be honest, when you're fighting someone, you are. Honor the Dead, this is your oh shit button. Elusive Mist is your main escape tool, but also it activates the Strike from Shadows passive. When you are a Vampire stage 2 or higher and you leave Sneak, Invisibility or Mist form, your weapon and spell damage is increased by 300. All you have to do is pop Mist form, press block, and your weapon damage goes up. Channel Focus, this is there to give you the major resolve, more resistances, and it also recovers 242 Magicka every 1 second if you're standing inside the rune. And the rune also heals you for 2.1k health every 1 second, so why not? And Rapid Regeneration, this is kind of like a burst heal over time. And if you really need a bigger oh shit button than the Honor the Dead, you have Life Giver. This heals you for like 14k health every 1 second for 5 seconds. And you automatically cast Regeneration, Blessing of Protection, and Steadfast Ward at no cost, depending on the morphs. So I'm using Rapid Regen, Combat Prayer, and Healing Ward. So when you use this ultimate, you automatically, along with this ultimate, cast these 3 at no cost. So this was my simple Magicka Templar no CP PvP build. I've been playing it for a couple of days now and I really like it. So go out there, kick some ass, hopefully not mine, and I'll see you next time.